It's Game Boy World, and this is Catrap. After a few episodes centering around sports games and slow, untranslated, text-heavy Japanese RPGs, I have to say it feels nice to return to the Game Boy's universal bread and butter, puzzle games. Because, as puzzle games go, Catrap is pretty good. It's funny because in terms of basic mechanics, there's not a whole lot to distinguish Catrap from a billion other Game Boy puzzlers. It's a remake of a classic PC game called Pitman, which, in its primal form, basically resembled a combination of Lode Runner, Sokoban, FLAPPY, and Boulder Dash. 3 of those games have already appeared on Game Boy World, and the 4th, Boulder Dash, is inbound during the second half of 1990. So what makes this seemingly run-of-the-mill puzzler so remarkable, you may ask? Is it the fact that you can play as either of 2 furries named Cat Boy and Cat Girl? No, it's not. I mean, it's nice that the game allows you to play as either character with each level, rather than treating the boy as the mandatory default. It suggests that developer Asmik Ace was consciously mindful of the fact that yes, girls like video games too, and appreciate seeing their fellow sisters in the battle against the patriarchy represented in a non-sleazy, non-sexual way. The developers took pains to distinguish the 2 characters. They play exactly the same, neither offering any advantages over the other, but each is accompanied by his or her own unique background tune, a sort of determined marching theme for Catboy, and an upbeat ditty for Cat Girl. The inclusion of 2 different characters isn't just a cosmetic thing either. Later stages require you to toggle between controlling each of them in turn, navigating them alternately to solve puzzles, much like Blizzard's The Lost Vikings. But that's not why this game is great. Nor is the inexplicable haunted house theme. Yeah, for whatever reason, Catrap places our heroes in a series of 100 stages in which they have to bump off a host of mummies, ghosts, and Frankenstein creatures. Literally, bump them off. The goal of each level is to hip-check each ghoul into submission. Despite their ooky horror stylings, though, your targets have no offensive capabilities of their own. Heck, they don't even move around. They stand defenselessly, waiting to be butt-slammed into oblivion. This makes for a nice change of pace from Asmik's previous Game Boy release, the relentless BOOMER'S adventure in Asmik World, with its infinite enemies and abusively designed boss encounters. But no, it's less jarring, and that's good. And it's strange, too. But weird was pretty much the operative word during the 8-bit era, so there's nothing particularly special about that either. Catrap offers a comprehensive yet incredibly easy to use edit mode as well. Unlike the editor in Hyper Lode Runner, this one isn't completely worthless. Granted, the lack of a battery backup means you can't save your creations, but you can output a password that allows you to reload or share the levels you've built. But that, too, is not the secret of Catrap's appeal. You can play the first 99 of the game's 100 levels in any order, with the final stage opening up only after you've completed them all. A second, much shorter password allows you to record which stages you've completed, offering remarkable freedom and flexibility for playing. Still, that's not why the game is so remarkable. Graphically, Catrap doesn't particularly stand out. It's okay, but not incredible. Similarly, the play control is thoughtful and precise, but it can be a little oversensitive. The music is cute and even catchy, but it's not exactly world-class jams. No, all of these things are well and good, but they really don't set Catrap apart from the dozen other Game Boy puzzlers we've seen. If you've pushed one boulder, you've pushed a million. The key to this particular game's brilliance comes from a secondary gameplay feature that you can almost completely overlook. When you first begin the game, you might press A or B and find that nothing happens. Playing Catrap is, in terms of interface and controls, as simple as Pac-Man. All you need is a directional input. When Catboy and Catgirl press against a boulder, it shifts one space to the side. When they collide with an enemy, the enemy goes flying off the screen. The puzzles can be remarkably devious despite this simple interface, which is an impressive design feat. It's only after you play for a while that you may eventually stumble upon the secret functions of the A and B buttons. Time shifting. I guess it's not really a secret, since it's a selling point on the box and is thoroughly explained in the manual. But it's such a sophisticated idea that its presence in a portable monochrome puzzle game of such a dated vintage could easily catch you off guard. By pressing the A button, you can rewind your actions all the way back to the beginning of a stage. You can jump back a single step with a tap of A or watch the computer undo every action you've taken by holding the button down. Likewise, once you back up, you can step forward again by using the B button. There's no penalty for or limitation on retracing your steps. Instead, it's an integral gameplay feature, and a very welcome one at that. Again, Catrap's puzzles can grow quite sophisticated, and given the Sokoban-like simplicity of its controls, you're bound to screw up repeatedly. Even simple-looking puzzles can require a very specific set of commands to complete, lest you accidentally box yourself in or destroy a path. By letting you rewind, Catrap gives you the freedom to experiment and fail without forcing you to go back to the beginning of a stage if you make a false move. This doesn't neuter the game's difficulty, however. Catrap remains remarkably challenging regardless. No, the freedom to undo a mistake at any time simply makes Catrap friendly, respectful. It gets that you're a busy person who doesn't have a lot of time to muck around with tedious repetition, so it cuts that crap from the equation. Sure, you can choose to restart a level, but if you just need to jump back 2 steps out of 100, Catrap allows you to backpedal those 2 steps without the need to retrace the previous 98. You'll find a lot of comments and speculation online about how influential Catrap was on games like Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time and BRAID. I don't know how much of that is really true, but I certainly wish Catrap had been more influential on its immediate peers. Game Boy puzzlers would have been a lot more tolerable with Catrap's touch of clemency. In any case, as recounted by Hardcore Gaming 101, Catrap dates back to 1985's Pitman, a sharp MZ700 game by Yutaka Isokawa. Isokawa doesn't appear to have had any involvement in this conversion, but the game doesn't hide its origins. Despite the addition of anthropomorphic heroes for Game Boy, the Japanese version was still called Pitman. Asmik did a fine job converting the obscure PC classic, reproducing the rules while doubling the number of stages. The puzzles are tricky and often baffling, but they can be completed with a little persistence. Weirdly, this would be the final Asmik-developed Game Boy creation to see release in the US. Following Catrap, the developer would focus its portable efforts primarily on horse racing games, which I can tell you I'm really looking forward to covering. Still, if this has to be the end of Asmik's relationship with American Game Boy fans, what a sweet note to end things on. Even better, you can easily grab a copy of Catrap for yourself on 3DS Virtual Console. You'll find that Catrap holds up remarkably well, and it's the only Virtual Console game for which you'll never need to abuse save states. For $3, you can't beat that. For more puzzle games, but not many as good as this one, keep watching Game Boy World. Next time, tanks for the memories.
Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy.